January 10th school board meeting, and we'll start with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda would be the student update.
Hi, I'm Madeline Carrero, and I'm here as the student representative for Seabrook Middle School. As a student here, I'd like to take a second and rave about the administration and faculty team here. I've been treated with respect and held accountable for my actions, which is amazing to help kids adapt to the expectations of teachers and themselves. All of them are teaching us important lessons to aid us through the new school year. SMS sports have been doing spectacularly. Wrestling has been great. They've had around 4 meets before, and they did amazing. This Friday in Rochester, they have another meet, and we have no doubt they'll do well again. The girls' A team has been trying their best even without the most perfect record. Their perseverance and grit have been proven to be great motivators. Let's wish them luck in Hampton tonight. The girls' B team has been doing well with their amazing wins, and they currently have a game going on in the gym against Hampton Academy. Boys' A team is on a roll with only less than a handful of losses. They're currently in Hampton for an away game. The boys' B team is doing amazing as well, with 6 wins and 3 losses. I'm so excited to see their outcomes tomorrow. In 5th grade, social studies, they're learning about the American Revolution. They're learning the causes and creating a project on their understanding. In language arts, they've made reindeer realty groups as a summative grade, which seems to be description writing about a house they're trying to sell. It's an amazing and creative way to learn about writing. Mrs. Dow from 6th grade said, "Students are re-energized and ready to make the most out of the new year. We set new SMART goals during our RAM advisory and jumped right into our new flex groups, featuring chess with Mrs. Dow, board games with Mr. Felch, and Ms. Zammer, makerspace with Mrs. Harder, and arts and crafts with Mrs. Hopkins." This Thursday, 28 Seabrook students from grades 3 to 8 will attend the first annual chess social held at Winnicott High School. I think she made a typo. I think it's meant to be 5 to 8, but I don't know. In 6th grade classes, students are learning about the provinces and territories in Canada, exercising their consumer voice by writing letters to companies, working on fractions and long division, and continuing their scratch projects, and learning about thermal energy to research, design, and construct a container that minimalizes heat transfer in order to keep ice from melting for as long as possible. That seems very interesting. So, 6th grade is off to a great 2023 start. Then, in 7th grade, Mrs. Lucantoni, the social studies teacher, is reading A Long Walk to Water, a book about the water conditions in South Sudan, Africa. The 7th graders did a water usage comparison activity to go along with the book. In language arts, they are reading The Miracle Worker, which is about Helen Keller's struggle to learn, and then a partially blind woman is sent to teach her. With this activity, they have the assignment to learn the American Sign Language alphabet. Within the science room, they are learning about the body's healing process. In the room, they have a full wall full of sticky notes where all of the curious kids put questions. Hopefully, at the end of the unit, they'll have those answers. Then, today, the 7th grade and 8th grade science classes switched rooms, so the 7th graders could break and dissect chicken wings, which I remember doing that in 7th grade, and that was a lot of fun. FACS is continuing with the textiles unit, and the kids are currently working on 1-inch by 1-inch cubes that they will hand sew, and then fill to the brim with stuffing. Later, when it starts to get warmer, they'll be back on track to make food again. Finally, in math, they're working with positive and negative integers and how to do operations with them. In the 8th grade, there's math, both algebra and 8th grade math. Both classes continue to learn and expand their knowledge. It includes slope, inequalities, and everyday warm-ups that our teacher tries very hard to put together. In language arts, we just finished the class spelling bee and have our 8th grade finalists to go into the school bee. Our LA teacher, Ms. Chevron, right here, just wanted to give her a shout out. That was improvised. Oh, thank you. Along with that, we're going to be starting the book Call of the Wild soon. We are also working on our passion projects and have a new vocabulary for the week. Within social studies, we are already a couple chapters into Ashes of Roses, a book that highlights the life of a young girl from Ireland and her immigration experience and the hardships she faced while settling into her new American life. Our science teacher continues with her evolution unit, evidence that points to it and how things now and in the past have been affected by it. In Spanish, we just made little people and created a life description for them in Spanish. We translated other characters and put them in different perspectives. An extra thing that includes 8th grade fundraising. Recently, we just had a wreath fundraiser, which pulled in a bunch of revenue, and this week at Bar 17 Grill in Seabrook, we will be hosting another fundraiser where 10% of the proceeds from that night will go towards the 8th graders Boston field trip in May. Then, next week, we're starting our calendar fundraiser, and on February 6th at the Community Oven in Hampton, we'll be doing another fundraiser. The proceeds from 4 to 9 p.m., dine-in, and takeout will be donated to us for the field trip. Art Club, hosted by Mrs. Sousa, is doing a bake sale very soon, and Youth to Youth is also doing a hat fundraiser. And I'd like to take one last opportunity to thank all of you for your help and support so far this school year. It means a lot to every single student here at Seabrook Middle School, and we're also thankful for you.
Thank you for speaking. All right, so I'm going to open it up to the public comment. Anything to say?
I'm here on behalf of the 8th grade teachers and students. We just want to thank the community. We've had so many people reaching out and being so helpful with our fundraisers. We've had parents who have put wreaths at their own home, selling things at their own home. They've been reaching out, letting us know, forming committees, and it's just so great to be able to have such an awesome group of grown-ups helping our awesome group of students. So thank you so, so much. We've been trying to keep things updated on the Facebook page about fundraisers that are upcoming. So be on the lookout for those, and thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rebecca Sherman.
Next.
Hey guys, I'm gonna switch gears a bit today. Got a letter I'd like to read to you guys. My name is Forrest Carter. I'm speaking tonight as a private resident and the director of the Seabrook Adventure Zone. Good evening, guys. I typically don't read off from paper, but I thought it would be a little more easier for me to just kind of go through a document, and I do have copies of it for you guys as well after. I did time myself while talking. I know we have a 3-minute. If I could just steal 2 extra minutes, that would be wonderful. I shaved it down to what my last time was 4 minutes and 37 seconds, all right? So I'm trying to expedite this, all right? All right. Hello, Seabrook School Board and Administration. I am here speaking with you tonight as a private citizen and the Seabrook Adventure Zone Director since 2011. During the budget review meeting on November 22nd, with the 3 board members present, a motion was made to eliminate the SAS funding to support the SMS SAS site and was carried with 3 votes approving the motion, thus eliminating the SAS SMS site funding of $35,000. This line item has been in our school budget for many years. It has contributed to the ever-successful Seabrook Adventure Zone program that has continuously met and exceeded our program and student goals since 2011. At the time, I was on a hiatus from the school board. was not present at the meeting and was not notified of the occurrence until Monday of November 28th. Immediately, I emailed the superintendent and the board chairman to add the discussion and revote of the elimination of funding due to the facts that no data or request for program information had been requested of SAS and that it was only a 3-person board vote. There was no response from the board chairman to my request, and it was not added to the next board meeting that was held on December 13th. At the board meeting on December 13th, I brought with me a program snapshot that identified student academic accomplishments in SAS, program structural highlights, and a variety of other items that offer a snapshot of the accomplishments and programming opportunities that we provide students in the Seabrook School District absolutely free to our students and families. A board member requested the SAS discussion to be tabled until the next meeting today for the purpose of reviewing the program snapshot and a potential revote during today's meeting. And it's important to note that the percentages offered in the program snapshot demonstrating student test scores, increases, and academic improvements do not include students in SAS that remain consistent. All of our students in SAS have either remained consistent or have increased their academic proficiency. This line of funding is detrimental to the program integrity of the Seabrook Adventure Zone and to fully support our students to the best of our abilities. We are your program. We work and support your students and families. Many of our families depend on the Seabrook Adventure Zone to provide a safe space after school that works with students every day in academics, social development, and life skills, all while increasing after-school access by eliminating the barriers of cost and transportation that impact so many of our students and families. In fact, during the COVID school closures, the SAS Middle School site remained open, moved to Veterans Park, and continued to offer in-person programming right up until the schools were reopened. We were the only program in Seabrook that maintained in-person programming throughout the entirety of COVID-19. During the school board meeting on June 8th of 2021, the school board voted unanimously to move forward with the 21st CCLC grant that would include both the already established SMS site and include a new elementary program site. Matching funds were included in this discussion, and again, it was accepted unanimously, including the 3 board members that now have voted to eliminate this funding a little over a year later. The goals were cited during this meeting discussion as to, quote, increase state testing scores and promote positive behaviors in the classroom, end quote. Both of which we have shown that we have accomplished and are continuing to accomplish. I don't know what has changed since then, but I am speaking for our students and our families that need this program. Please, review the program snapshot, take me out of the equation, and think of our students and families that depend and need this incredible resource that the Seabrook Adventure Zone has offered for so many years. Speak to your administration, the leaders of our schools, and see what they have to say about SAS and the value SAS brings to the Seabrook School District. Speak to our students and families that utilize SAS and what it means to them to have a program like SAS in their schools and community that provides safety, challenge, and a sense of belonging. I have enormous respect for everyone on these tables right now, and I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your consideration.
Okay to speak, Kelly? I'd just like to start off by saying that first thing is public comment at the beginning of the meeting is great. Yep, Maria Brown. Yep, resident of Seabrook. It's great, but it doesn't give the people in the audience a chance to hear all of you. Like Brian may do a presentation where a parent has a question because we don't see his report. So if you could think about this evening moving also public comment to the end if anybody has any questions, which usually they do when they listen. The other thing is, along with Forrest, I'd like to know from Christina, Jen, and Kelly. I heard you, Kelly, saying, oh,
you know, it was the $35,000 that we used that we shouldn't have used, but you did as a board member. You sat there and did it. Okay? You did it, you did it. I want to know what changed since last year, because I know for a fact Patrick and Christina participate in the program, so they must love it. I mean, you have to like it. So from you three that voted for that without, you know, I really think Saz needed to be there to discuss it with you. And why? Besides the point, because I don't buy the $35,000 all of a sudden shouldn't have been taken out because it was under all of you. So what is the other reason? Is there reasons maybe the program is failing? Is there stuff about it you don't like? Are there people you don't like? And if that's the case, it should never be. So I'm gonna ask you that. You can take the time to answer it or not.
Well, we're actually here on public comment, and if not, something is not on the agenda, we can listen to the public comment, but we are not having a discussion on it.
Yeah. Well, it's important, Kelly, that you answer to why you vote the way you do, whether it's on the.
We did.
But you let
voted on
Laura
it.
speak.
Yes, we did.
Meredith, thank you for keeping her calm.
I'm supporting that public
So-
comment is not a back and forth, so
Yeah.
you're,
So, but if they can answer to the public at some point this evening of why they felt so strongly, and I'm not saying either way, because that's your job to do, but the other thing, agenda items, can you explain, Kelly, because you're the chair? How, because back in the day, and it may be different now, any board member could request an agenda item, and it was put on. People from the community could request. Can you tell me what the decision, how you came to the decision not to put background checks and policy review on the agenda this evening? How did you come to that?
so again, public comment is an opportunity for the public to share information with the board, but the board's not gonna engage in a back and forth.
Well, this is just the agenda question, though. We have a right to know how the agenda is put together. Maybe you can answer it.
Again, it's public comment, so I'm not gonna engage in that at this point, but I'm
Okay.
happy to follow up with you later.
Okay, later in the meeting, you mean? No. So you don't want to talk about the process, none of the board members, of how you put agenda items on for the public or the board? Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Welcome.
So I'll just say something. So in the past, we've had people bring agenda items forward and they haven't gotten put on before. We've dealt with this with other chair members before, that things haven't been brought forward. As far as my opinion on the SAS, I do think you do a good job. However, there are times that we have to look at budgets and do what's best for people. Now, SAS is part of their own program, or are they part of the school? If they want the $35,000, every other entity in the entire town has to go through a warrant article process. So it's either they're part of the school and they're part of the school budget, which then shows that you can't have people on several different boards and be asking for money from the board. And I understand, Forrest, you've recused yourself on this, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, we're looking at things like you had to step down to make this presentation. There's a process for all of this, and at the end of the day, the board decided this $35,000 was going to get cut because they felt that this is what needed to be done. There's still a whole process that can be done. Nothing is over. It can go to the deliberative session like we've talked about in the emails. And it's, at the end of the day, everyone else goes through the warrant article process. We've been told for years that SAS is 100% grant funded. Well, this isn't the case if we're asking for $35,000 from taxpayers. We can call it subsidized after school program, but it's not a free after school program. Maybe it doesn't come out of everyone's pocket, but at the end of the day, like, money gets moved in and out from line items from people all the time, and we have to pass things. Like, because if nothing gets passed, we're right back from square one with absolutely everything else. And it's not a hit on anyone. Like, yes, my kids have used SAS and they've enjoyed it. And I think Forrest puts on a wonderful program. But when you're told that it's 100% grant funded and then money is being moved in and out, it's almost like we're being hijacked with money, saying, well, you have to give us the $35,000 or else we don't get the grant. And you write the grant so that you can get more taxpayer money. And that's one of the reasons that things get moved and now it goes to a deliberative session. You can also ask for warrant articles. It's either you're part of the school and you're falling under being a member of the school's budget, which means you're taking taxpayer dollars. It's not a free program. And people, a lot of people, have reached out to board members with this concern. And I know public comment's not supposed to be back and forth, but I will give you an answer. And that is one of the reasons. We can't call it a free program, it's subsidized. You're asking for taxpayer money, and as the board, we're responsible for how taxes are gonna be spent within the schools or whatnot. If you're your own entity, and you're your own, not part of the school, then let's do what every other organization does and make a warrant article for it. Let the people vote on it. And if they just determine that they wanna give the extra funding for that, the program was originally a middle school program and it's grown. And it's a good thing it's grown, but at the end of the day, like, people's pockets hurt. Like, and I get it. At the end of the day, someone's gonna tell me that $35,000 is a drop in the hat. But it's not. This is money that can be reallocated for other places, and everyone's hurting. We have teachers' contracts that we're trying desperately to get past this year, and like, people look at all of these things that are in a whole, and this is one of the reasons why things have been brought up. And I don't know why, fortunately, you weren't here for that vote, or why it wasn't put out. But at the end of the day, you're a board member, and you could have been here for the vote. You weren't here for it, and you could have voted on it, or what?
Right?
I was not present for this vote, but we still had a quorum, and I still support what our board does as a whole. At the end of the day, I can't come up, an individual doesn't operate on their own on a school board. We have a quorum, we have a board, and this is just the way it works. Like, I'm not putting anyone down. I like everything people have done, but the board spoke on this, and at the end of the day, if we want to you can go to the deliberate session, ask for it back, or come up with a separate warrant article. Like, the fire department has to ask for money to get SCBA's. Like, if you got to ask for extra money from the town to run the program, the townspeople will either give it to it or they won't. We've had all departments struggle across the board. And at some point, money has to be taken from one thing to be moved to another. And that is the nature of the beast. I don't think anyone's like thrilled that we don't have an unlimited budget to let everyone operate the way they do. But if you're telling us that grants are connected to taxpayer-funded money, well, then you're not 100% grant-funded, and then it doesn't move forward. And this is the concerns and the emails and the questioning I get all the time. That's my perspective on all of this, and that's the answer that I'll give you today on the public forum.
So, yeah, just as a point of order, I would encourage us to sort of stick with public comment. If the board wants to add a discussion item, anyone can introduce a motion and the board can take a vote on adding an item to the agenda.
Gotcha. I'm done.
If there's nobody else to speak, Kelly, I wanted to just say something else to Richard. Is there anybody else? Thank you, Patrick, because back in my day, that's how it was. We could always speak to the board members and they could speak to us, so this is new. I just want to go back to what was said. We all understand on the funding for that, but the board did it. Christina made the motion to take that money,
That's
and
not
I
true.
know
That's not true.
you don't remember it?
To
The
take
motion
money?
to take the money out of the operating budget when Matt really
Oh,
tried to.
I'm sorry. I thought
Yes.
you meant the budget review.
No,
meeting
you
recently that
originally
I
did,
did not
remember, we
make that
can't go
motion.
back and forth, so it's public comment, right? So yes, the vote was taken and it was used. People in town were very upset about it because they didn't want to have budgeted money coming for something that wasn't budgeted, but it was done, and it was done by the board sitting here, not you. I don't think you were here on Patrick.
So now I'm really confused.
So my point is with that is, great, but we're here and now we gotta worry about how are we gonna take care of this? Well, we know people use it. We know people use SAS that can certainly afford to pay. So maybe we should look at a scale that says how people can afford, the groups that can't afford it, but the groups that can should maybe be paying some money because not all the taxpayers use it, right? So that's an idea that you might want to put on the table.
We're not in charge of SAS, we
No,
can't put that on the
that's-
table.
No, but suggestion-wise to how to make up that money, and you're right. You can put warrant articles on, but there's time limits, and there's dates and time frames, and I think it's probably way too late, because it was yesterday, so. But thank you, Patrick, for answering, and about the agenda request when I asked that because I remember you specifically standing there about masks, saying, why is this not on the agenda? Why can't people have the freedom of speech and the right to speak? So I appreciate it. Thank you.
I would gladly make a motion to add this to the discussion if anyone else has anything to share. I just want to make sure that things are clarified and true and out there and the perception is not false. That's what I would just make sure. But
I'll second your motion, Christina, so you can have your turn to talk.
that's up to you guys. But
Your motion is to add
To-
this as a discussion item.
to add a discussion period, wherever that may fall best. I just feel that it's important to share both sides.
So I saw a motion and a second.
Make a motion to add a discussion agenda item
On what?
for tonight, to clarify any questions that,
To clarify public comment.
clarify public comment. If that would be the best way to say it.
Confused.
Meredith?
We're adding something to the agenda to clarify public comment.
Are you trying to clarify public comment or try to clarify the board's, the budget?
Well,
to
yes, but
clarify
I'm
the board's
just based
stance.
on public comment, that would be my, however is best to clarify that.
So
Whatever
you
you
want to
want.
clarify public comment.
Or the budget
What is your
review meeting, whatever you
It sounds
recommend.
like your motion would be to review the budget discussion, I think. I think that's what you're trying to clarify.
I would like to share my,
You want to respond to public?
I would like to respond, yes. I would like to have a chance for the public to hear a response rather than let information sit out there and then not be able to respond.
How do you want your right to do this?
I have no idea.
So the motion is to create an agenda item to allow
Okay, so hold
the
on.
board to respond to public comment.
There usually has to happen, then when you, the motion to add a discussion agenda item for tonight's meeting to clarify public comment.
So you're basically making a motion to have permission to speak.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Your second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sure. Aye. Okay,
Okay.
so yes.
2 points of clarification. One, my point of view from the budget meeting is not exactly the same as Patrick. Yes, his points are all valid, and but in our discussion of the budget, when we really sat down and looked at all of the details, the difference between what we voted on in June of 2021 and the difference till now is that last year's budget was voted down. It was denied, which means then we had to remove $250,000. Matt, clarify me if I'm wrong, but roughly $250,000 from the budget because it was not passed. And so that then took away a third preschool bus, and it took away various other things that the school had to remove from the budget to make room for the default budget. When we went through the budget, Matt and his team did a really great job of trying to get it literally as streamlined as possible. There was less than $100,000 difference between the proposed budget and the default budget. If there is any way for us to help to get the budget down even further, that is where we come in. We are supposed to look at the budget. Maria, you specifically told us last year that we did not use enough time in our budget meeting last year to clarify the budget and make sure that we were doing our best.
Right.
We made sure to do that this year, to look at the budget, look at the line items, how can we make things work as best as possible. And like Patrick said, the teachers' contract is our #1 priority this year. They deserve a cost of living raise, and the only way to get that passed is for the public to vote on the warrant article. whatever we can do to streamline the budget, to get the teacher's budget passed, however, whatever that looks like, I am willing to do that. This has literally zero reflection on Forest, zero reflection on SAS, nothing negative on my part from my point of view, from my children's point of view. And that needs to be said because it is not personal and it is not about SAS as an organization or about the functioning of SAS. I want to make sure that that's known. That is not my point of view. I do not feel that way. In regards to the other statements, when you said that the public was upset about us putting the information in the budget last year, not information, but putting the SAS money in the budget, the way that we did that was actually through the ESSER funds, and we added the money for elementary to the ESSER funds, and that has not been removed because that has already been allocated. The money that we are removing for this year, or we are proposing to remove for this year, is the money for the middle school that has been in the budget for years and years. So it has nothing to do with the money or the motion that I made in June to push that money forward for elementary. Every year is different, and this was mentioned in the last meeting, that to make a 5-year to commit for 5 years based on money that we haven't seen or things that haven't happened yet is difficult to do. Our hope is always to give money to programs that help the school and to help our community and then help our students. But this, from my point of view, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but was solely based on trying to get the budget as streamlined as possible, has nothing to do with SAS or Forest, and is nothing at all personal. And I just felt like I needed to say that because it is not that.
And also to piggyback off what you've said before, like every year is different, and probably the biggest goal of the school board is to help manage our taxpayer dollars to ensure that everything is being used as efficiently as possible. Every year is going to be different. Sometimes you have to cut budgets. And again, it's nothing personal. There's no vendetta on this. Everyone that goes through SAS agrees that it's a good program. But we're grant funded. It's broadcast as being grant funded. And at the end of the day, if we have to take some money to thin down an entire budget that, let's be frank here, you talk to most tax-paying people in this town, they already think the school budget is ridiculously high. And it's the nature of the beast. It's a business that you have to run. And at the end of the day, sometimes you have to take some of that funds and cut them. We're not in very good financial times right now. People came out with red pens last year and swiped down it's one of the first times I've seen almost all warrant articles get stricken down. If the budget gets busted again, the teachers are now another 3 years behind of getting pay raises. You're going to have to reallocate money again. We're going to have to go back through negotiations to try to get something to pass. And it's not just us that affects, it's the entire SAU. So if Seabrook votes this down because they find that the budget is too big, and again, at the end of the day, they look at the number. How much is it going to cost them? They look at the big number and they're like, that is a large number. They're going to vote it down. And if it votes down, we're right back here getting yelled at, why aren't the teachers getting raises or whatnot? And at the end of the day, you have to cut stuff. You have your grant money, and we have to figure out how to make that work to the best of our ability. And at the end of the day, that's what the board has decided. They did vote last year to move those ESSER funds over because they had the ability to do that, and they found that was going to be a surplus on that side. So they utilized the surplus to make something work. This year, we don't have that. So we have to cut something. No one wants to see SAS go away. No one's trying to burn the program down. It's based off of necessity, and the teachers have been fighting for contracts for a long time, and we worked really hard on negotiations to come up with what we found to be a really fair number on both sides of the fence. We sat there and shook hands at the end of that, and everyone seemed to be pretty happy and let's go out and get this passed. And Matt did a good job getting all the numbers broken down to where we can present as a school board, to the people that voted us in, a number that we can stand behind, and people aren't coming to us saying, why did it go up again? Why does it keep going up? Why does everything have to go up? And just because it's there doesn't mean it can't go away. This idea that you put something in a budget and it has to be there forever is why you get bloated budgets all the time. Like, we have to find ways to make things work, because we can't keep putting the burden on the taxpayers all the time, because frankly, people don't have the money to shell out. And they're going to come with red pens, and they're going to strike everything down left to right. Like, I'm sorry that it has to be in this program, but if we cut money from something else, we're going to have public comment. Again, damned if you do, damned if you don't here. At the end of the day, something has to be done. And I'm glad that we had a chance to sit and clarify this. It's nothing personal. Like, we want to see everyone succeed. And at the end of the day, maybe we could have gotten things presented before, but to get warrant articles out there, but I don't run the program. I can't make a warrant article to ask for money to come into things. This is not, we have no control over it because SAS isn't part of the school. But then we say that we need money from the school to pay for SAS. So then people also go, well, is SAS part of the school budget, or are they part of their own grant funded budget? You can't have it, we can't have it both ways. And that was an area that they were able to look at and say that this is where it can be cut. And at the end of the day, that's just what kind of has to happen sometimes.
So my take on it, Maria, is you asked, what changed from now till then? A lot changed. We have a lot of teachers that left because of COVID. We have a lot of teachers that left because they retired. We have a lot of teachers, not a lot, but we've had some teachers that have become ill, unfortunately, and had to leave. You know this. We have EAs that are also making below average compared to other surrounding areas. We have contracts that need to go out there. So we have an after-school program that does considerably well. This is not, and I've said this before, even though, and I'm not going to bring up this whole ice skating rink, but you know, the question was, is this a personal thing? No, it's not. My point is that when we have a grant, and it's a very good-sized grant, and we're very lucky to have that, and then we have a choice to cut in areas so that we can feel like that we left that budget committee meeting knowing that we did the best we could to get those teachers' contracts approved. We have $35,000 on one side, $35,000 on the other, and then a good-sized grant there. Okay? So if we have that and we see that a lot of the middle school students, and I do know the attendance, that I feel like that we felt like the elementary school, because of their ages, because of parents working, they can't be home alone, that to us was more of a priority to take that $35,000. Was there suggestions from the public that maybe we should just take the money away because the whole, should I say, the whole entire program is quoted a free program? It's not a free program, not if we're asking for taxpayers' money. So we tried to think of a way that we wouldn't take the $70,000 away from SAS, and that's why we decided, all right, well, obviously we have the ESSER funds, but we have got to cut something because we have that $330,000 grant a year. And unfortunately, the school right now has to budget. You know, there's a lot of things. We have principals coming in, and they're, you see the budget for the town. Everything has gone up in price. And that's the same thing for the school. You know, if we need pens, pencils, whatever, that's gone up. And we know that's gone up for SAS too. But the school has to budget. And unfortunately, all we're saying is that unfortunately right now it's tough. So SAS is going to have to find a way, and I'm not saying they don't, but they're going to have to find a way to budget, try to make it work, because right now this is all we can do. It's not a personal thing. I didn't want to answer your question because I didn't want to get into this match.
You always shook hands and I love that you are.
Okay, well, thank you, Maria, because it's important for me as a school board member to know that in the last year, and I don't want to get emotional either like Forrest, I have busted my butt on this board for 3 years to do the best I can for everybody, and it may not be what everybody wanted, and it may not be what everyone didn't want, but at least I know at the end of my term, and I walk away, that I did the best I could. And my children, Connor's a sports freak, so you might want to get a basketball team. But Cameron loved SAS in the beginning. He's more of a homebody now. And Connor does sports. So it's not a SAS thing. It's just that we have a lot of EAs in the school that, you know, they've been there through COVID, just like Forrest has, but they've been here through COVID. The teachers have, you know, in the beginning from Maria, I was like, these teachers need to get back to school, but I can't tell you how much more respect I have for them. Because they stuck it out, and the ones that are left, they did what they had to do to get these kids back. And these two principals have done, I can't even say the difference in the school board meetings from now, not because the other ones didn't, but just because the team, right now, I feel like it can walk away and not worry. And I thank both of them because yeah, that's all I'm saying. I had to answer the question because I think I owed it to everyone. Thank you.
Do we want to move on to the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Good luck.
So our Unified Arts staff are here to present. Brian, I don't know if you want to do an introduction?
Yeah, great. So we have three of our Unified Arts team members here. One of our school goals this year that we brought forward from our leadership team was that we would like traditions and celebrations and experiences for our students. And Unified Arts team, you'll find out, didn't just like start slowly. The experiences that we have really have grown and grown and grown to the point where we're so proud of our students and so proud of our staff. You'll see, I don't want to blow the presentation, but I'm so proud of this team and excited that they're going to be sharing for us. So, there you go. You want to introduce yourselves as you go through? Sorry.
Michael Gosha, I'm the librarian.
I'm Katrina O'Brien, I'm a music teacher.
And Deanne Bird, I'm the arts teacher.
Right, so what are community building days? Community building days are hosted by various teams or groups throughout the year. On these days, Seabrook Elementary School students and staff participate in enriching, engaging activities that are designed to nurture collaboration or a shared sense of community. The host team develops and implements the day's community building event. The days are celebrated together in various ways by house, grade level, whole school, or other format. We usually involve the community. I recognize a lot of you that have come to these community building days. We have the PTO that's been super supportive, and obviously our administration has been super supportive in allowing us to lead these days.
So why are these community building days so important for us? Research actually confirms that students in schools with a strong sense of community are more likely to be academically motivated, to act ethically and altruistically, to develop social and emotional competencies, and to avoid a number of problem behaviors. It just really is so important for us to establish a strong sense of community. We feel like this based in motivate them.
So we'll look back at some of the events that we had this year. We had Fall Festival Day. That was a lot of the community was involved in that because we had the fire department was there that day to help us. The kids were building scarecrows. How many did they make? Something like, I thought it was like 90 of them. I think we had them everywhere. So these are just kind of a snapshot. I couldn't put every picture. We took so many pictures. But when you see the kids, they're having so much fun building and making. There was live music. We had donuts. We had cider. And again, just everyone making and outside dancing and playing, and it was really awesome. Yeah, I had two kind of screens.
This one is the National Outdoor Classroom Day, and we used this one this year to connect with our 8th grade students who are our tour guides through our story walk that we unveiled in the fall. So it was a wonderful community building beyond just our elementary school, but connecting with the middle school as well. And so the students walked through the forest and were able to enjoy the story with their 8th grade tour guide, and then create using nature.
Then we had our turkey trot, and the middle school helped out with that. So you can see all the turkeys over there, our middle school students dressed up, running with the kids. And then that picture over on the left is just kind of capturing when I think Lindsay said go, and they were all started to run to do their laps. So that was a lot of fun. And I just love the picture on the right-hand side because, again, the kids are outside, they're dancing, they're playing, they're interacting with each other. It's just so much community on that day. Cookie making. So the cafeteria, and I don't know if Brian wants to speak to this one because he's actually the one who spearheaded this one.
What's been really cool about this is that you find staff passion too. So we linked up with the cafeteria, and I went down and said, "Can you follow me through this crazy idea?" Because every single kid in our school make a cookie, and we narrowed it down until Chef Holly in the cafeteria actually made all the cookies. So they were made from scratch, and then we had donations and students decorated them. And we learned a lot about what we want to do and how we want to improve it for next year. Every single kid went home with some sugar. And it was a great time. We had a dance party. And you can make 350 cookies with kids.
Bucket list.
So we always think it's important, of course, to ask our students what they think about this. So some of the students did a little video clip. It may be a little bit hard to hear, so the text is off to the side there.
What are your favorite things about community building days? I like to learn how people work together and stuff. It's pretty cool, and I can make these really cool creations. Yeah, that's my favorite part too. About community building days. And we get to do a lot of stuff that we don't really get to do in normal. Yeah, me too.
First, that we're not done. There's so much more planned. It's been fun because of the team we spent time. We get very excited about the ideas that are upcoming, but also we're tapping into other members of our community in terms of creating this, and then really outreach. I know we mentioned the PTO supporting and the fire department, and so it's become a bigger the middle school students. We couldn't have done so many of these without them. So that sense of community is such a great.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And also give the UA team kudos because during the day they also do clubs. And so on top of the enrichment activities, the Scotia has got we've got a tech club with Miss Carney, who's not here. The Scotia does SES TV, so you'll see our TV show coming up. We have an art club every day for students who like to leave the loud cafeteria to go and make art. And it's O'Brien is doing all things music, and then Lindy is always the place to
Sorry, I'm pointing to Madeline because she was on one of our first SES TV crews and actually interviewed. We were saying,
You guys do an awesome job.
Well, you're old.
I'm not though, right?
No.
Just her, not you. Well, we really appreciate you guys. I mean, as a parent, also a school member, but as a parent of kids that participate in lots of those things that you just talked about, they all come home raving about it every day. They talk about all the different things they do. They talk about art club. They talk about SCS TV. They talk about the music programs that they do. So it's really great, and it's making a difference, and we appreciate it.
And they love the sugar.
And they love the sugar. That's nice. That's a bonus. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 13th meeting, regular meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Reports. All right. So I am up first. I almost remember what's in my report. So the first thing that I included in there was just an update that there will be a legislative meeting at the end of the month. So you may have seen in the most recent New Hampshire School Board Association newsletter that all the bills and the text of the bills are starting to come out. They're a little over 200 that are believed to involve education in some fashion. So as we learn more about them, we'll share that information. And again, we'll have that session later in the month. I think right now it looks like we're more likely to have it the 31st than the 25th, if you're keeping an eye on calendars. That's okay. First is a Tuesday. Let's see what else. Filing for open positions opens up soon, so filing opens the 25th of January and is open through the 3rd of February. And all school district clerks will be available until 5 p.m. on the last day of filing, February 3rd. The open positions are listed, but there are 2 school board member positions, 3-year terms, school district clerk position, school district moderator position, and school district treasurer position open. Those are all 3-year terms. So you can reach out to Cheryl Bowen at the town hall if you have any questions. I did have the opportunity to meet with our student leadership team yesterday. The focus was around school safety. So just really helpful to hear that student perspective on the practice that we do, the measures that are in place to keep students safe. Students have shared good ideas with Dr. Hobbs and I and feedback, so we'll be sharing that with our principals. And at the request of the students on that team, next month's meeting will focus on stress, mental health, and health overall. So Dr. Toomey will join us along with some of our school guidance counselors for that portion of the discussion. So we'll let you know what comes out of that discussion. I know we don't, apparently we're just responding to comments tonight, so I'm happy to respond as well. At our last meeting, there was discussion about tabling a request to revote on the budget. That was a little impromptu, also an emotional discussion. Tonight's conversation, I would say, is emotional. There's a lot of passion and care for this community shared by everyone in this room. Nobody would be here if they didn't have the best interests of students and the school at heart, and I believe that fully from the bottom of my heart. So I hope everyone can walk out of this room tonight with a respect for the choices that people have to make. It is difficult. School funding is very difficult in New Hampshire. The majority of funding for schools comes out of local taxpayer dollars. The state funds a very small percentage, and costs have escalated, as we know. Special education costs have increased significantly. We've seen other challenges, as we've talked about staffing and the warrant article. At our last meeting, when that was tabled, there was a request to bring it back to this meeting for discussion. The request was also to potentially vote on changing the budget. The problem is the budget is not ours anymore, right? The board hands it off to the budget committee, and I should have clarified that at the time. I didn't, so I apologize for that. But the budget committee will hold its public hearing on Monday, so people in the community who are concerned about the budget, the reductions, additions, the overall, any aspect of the budget can share their comments with the budget committee at that time. The next opportunity after that is the deliberative session in February, and Matt may go over this in his report as well, so he can clarify anything I foul up in my sharing. But at that meeting, anyone who is in attendance can make a motion to amend the budget. So amending can raise the budget up, or it can bring the budget down. So it's important to turn out at that meeting to speak your mind about issues, and if there is something that matters to you that you feel strongly about that you want to change, there is an opportunity to do that in person at that meeting on February 7th. Is that correct?
6th. Monday, February 6th.
Monday, February 6th. Again, in person, February 6th, that's the opportunity to make changes to the budget. The petition warrant article deadline has passed. That, Maria is correct, that deadline was yesterday. So we did not receive any petition warrant articles that have been brought to our attention, so there aren't any forthcoming or new ones. There is one.
The child benefits.
Correct. There is one citizen's petition, the Child Benefit Services related to supporting Sacred Heart students. So those will be on the deliberative session discussion as well. But I would, again, just encourage people to turn out. That will be the opportunity. So the item isn't on the agenda tonight because practically speaking, there's not an opportunity for the board to revote and have any impact. It would be a hollow vote. So I will leave it at that, and just so the board is aware, I have to leave in about 15 minutes. You can continue without me because other members of my team will be here, but I will be leaving.
Kick it into overdrive.
Dave doesn't feel any pressure though, at all.
Oh, I can go fast. Ready? Okay, keeping it brief, right? So, update for you. Last Thursday, the full admin team, the full SAU admin team got to meet get together and share evaluation write-ups, which is a really powerful experience. We all brought samples, redacted them, and shared them between schools and between districts. And I think we had some really good discussions about what strengths we have as a community, but also areas of growth for educator evaluation. And thank you for the principals just for being there. It's no more than 30 seconds and a phone rings in a room with a bunch of principals. So I appreciate your dedication there. Safety and security, board chairs can count on receiving signed copies of our new MOUs with police departments. That's for the SRO, but it's also for cameras and all the security systems that they have access to. Portrait of a learner. The bad news is we basically all got COVID in December, so we didn't meet. But the good news is our next meeting is tomorrow, and we're actually chosen to present regionally in Rhode Island for the beginnings of our process, kind of what you saw, Christina, in a couple months, in March. So that'll be good. Last thing on my report is 'tis the season, new year. We're recertifying 116 educators and 160 credentials throughout the next month and a half, 2 months, and I will keep you posted on the percentages of who's winning this race for credentialing. It's not a race, just kidding. And that's it, unless you guys have questions.
No, thank you.
I'll just note that Mary may want to jump in, but there's no formal student services report because Mary's going to be doing a presentation at the joint board meeting.
Yeah, just don't have a formal report for you. I have been working on a presentation on the topic of neurodiversity and trends in special education, and I will be delivering it to the joint board later this month, and we'll make it available to all of you to take a look.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Brian.
I'll go real quick. I want to thank Miss O'Brien and the PTO for the winter concert. I was home with COVID, but I heard it was excellent. They did a great job. The PTO meeting is actually tomorrow, so the PTO meeting tomorrow evening. We've got a lot on the agenda for those that are interested. Please check out our Coastal Corner website. Our curriculum coordinator does an amazing job highlighting the pictures and information about what's going on in our schools. And the link is right on our website under curriculum. Our students will be taking the NEWAs coming up, so we're doing the NEWAs one time this year and mid-year, so that's coming up. And I'll just highlight the pavilions. Peter did a great job from the facilities department. They're in, but they can't be used right now until the pads come in. And the ground, I don't know, this weather has been interesting, but we're going to wait until it's the right time to go to the crack. But they look really pretty.
They look great. They look awesome.
They do look
Yeah.
good.
I'm excited to get kids outside. One more thing, the Title I is going to be starting with some reading tutoring. We're going to go home to students who have been identified with activities who have to read.
Thank you. Jamie?
Hi, happy to be here. I have some graphs. I don't know who's controlling visuals up there, but I can go over it without making verbally if you'd like. I provided you with first a short video of where we've been. This is the time, right, of the year where we look back. We also look ahead. So I just created a mosaic video, 1 minute. You can look at when you have a second, just to kind of highlight where we've been and where we're going. So the regraphs I've provided in my report. One is titled "Discipline at a Glance." And one of the things that I had heard when I arrived was that we had some behavior concerns in the middle school. So we redid our code of conduct, and we've been working really hard to implement some restorative practices and focusing on building relationships and some other things. And so the first graph shows the suspension days from September to December. September was pretty high with just around 15 suspension days. These include out-of-school days and in-school days. And the graph it shows a nice decline, a linear decline through December, where we had, I think, 5.4 days total in December. So we went from 15 down to 5. Thanks, Brian. In December, and so we're happy about that. That's a real positive trend. We also did a detention at a glance over the course. So some interesting relationship here is that the suspension days went down, but the detention numbers went up. Now, you can draw your own conclusions to that. I like to think that it's because the incidents are less severe. We're keeping the kids in school, which is better than having them out of school.
Or they're getting smart.
So
But good job.
Interesting draft there. The last one is what we've been doing since the beginning of the year is recognizing our outstanding RAM students monthly with an assembly. Thanks to our celebrations committee, they've been organizing those assemblies, and our staff have been nominating outstanding RAM students who have showed outstanding RAM characteristics for the month. This just shows that over the course of September through December, we've recognized 131 students as being outstanding RAMs, and 21 staff have been nominated by their peers for being outstanding RAMs as well. So I think that just gives me kind of a warm and fuzzy feeling to think that we're recognizing and celebrating our students for these great personal qualities. We continue to do this monthly and are optimistic that at some point during the course of the late winter, early spring, every student, hopefully, and staff will be recognized for displaying some outstanding RAM characteristics and qualities. We also have our RAM wall, which is right outside the gym. Thank you to Ms. Sousa for organizing that. We took pictures of our outstanding RAMs, and they're posted there for you to see if you're attending any games or extracurricular activities. That's where you can find them. So just some graphical stuff for you to look at. A couple of other numbers that I wanted to share with you that I did not put in my report was we had some really great math news this week. The 5th grade, our IXL scores, we did a diagnostic, and there was an improvement of 46 points overall on average for our 5th grade, so that was really exciting news there. And then we have had 65 8th graders who have signed up, committed to the 8th grade trip, which is outstanding. It's over 2/3 of our 8th grade class right now, and it's only January, so we're really hopeful that we'll get 100% attendance on that. And then just last is the winter concert is coming up on the 18th. We're also doing NEWA testing coming up soon, middle of the year. And that's all for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Jamie, quick question about the numbers for the 8th grade trip. Do we think that the remaining students could be based on finances? Is that the overall thought?
I don't know, Christina. I don't want to make that projection
Okay.
yet, but I mean, that would that's
Okay.
not atypical.
I just don't know if the fundraising efforts could boost those, hopefully.
Just a shout out. I mean, the 8th grade. I mean, they are fundraising. If you need any money raised.
Rebecca, did you want to say something about that?
Just
You look like that you wanted
for
to.
the kids that aren't going to be, sorry,
No, that's fine.
for the kids that, have decided that they either don't want to go on Boston Week, we had some pretty tight deadlines for signing up and everything, but they will be having celebrations and field trips here as well, so they will be feeling loved and embraced as well, even if they're not going on that. All the fundraising proceeds are being spread out among all of it. So the kids who aren't being able to go, as well as the ones who are being able to go, are benefiting from all the fundraising benefits.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. So we have included the fiscal year-to-date expenditure and revenue reports on board docs. Looking at this current school year, we are tracking well from a budget perspective. We have approximately $300,000 in available balance. Obviously, we have 6 months remaining in the fiscal year. We will spend down some of those accounts, but most of the budget is encumbered. And I don't foresee at this point any concerns. As you know, we are in a default budget, so this was a lean year, and we certainly have to manage those funds accordingly. One area, or actually 2 areas, where we've encountered difficulties are one is special education. We've had some unanticipated costs on that side. We're over budget by about $160,000. And then, generally speaking, we've seen cost escalation due to inflation, and that's affecting some of our facilities accounts, some of our technology accounts, supplies and materials, where we're a couple $1,000s over budget in various areas. That being said, we are recognizing savings on salaries accounts and benefits accounts, and this is primarily due to the difficult labor market. It's difficult to hire, and we've had vacancies for periods of time, which certainly is not ideal. However, it does save money. So shifting to the revenue side, we were recently notified that we were awarded $45,000 via the SAFE grant. That's for security projects, so that's great news. Additionally, Peter Moore, our facilities manager, under both of our fearless principals, are working on submitting applications for a clean energy infrastructure grant. That's through the Inflation Reduction Act. At the federal level, there's approximately $500 billion that's being allocated to clean energy projects. So that is a needs-based program grant opportunity, and it's nationwide, so that money is not necessarily coming this way. However, there's only one way to get it, and that's to apply. So we're gonna put in applications for various clean energy opportunities. That can include renewable energy like solar, ventilation projects, any type of energy efficiency project. No guarantees or expectations, but we are putting in those applications. Now shifting to fiscal year 24, as Meredith had noted, we do have the budget public hearing scheduled for Monday. That's January 16th at the town hall, and that's at 6:30 p.m., where the budget committee will review both the school and the town warrants, and then at which point, once that public hearing is complete, which will offer the community the opportunity to make public comment on all of those warrants. It will go to the deliberative session, which is scheduled for Monday, February 6th. That's at 7 p.m. here in the school gymnasium, where we will present the full operating budget and associated warrant articles. So we really took care to bring forth an extremely lean budget this year. The difference between the operating budget and the default is $59,000. So there are certainly some headwinds when it comes to this current economic climate, and some of the expenses that we're incurring in special education. However, we really want to prioritize our collective bargaining agreement for our teachers' contract. That is our highest priority. As you've seen this evening, our teachers are amazing. They're what makes our schools great. And as Patrick noted, should this contract fail, our teachers will get no step and no cost of living adjustment. The wage, we are lower compared to on salary and benefits compared to comparable SAUs when you're looking at Exeter, SAU 16, Portsmouth, Oyster River, the SAUs that we compete for teachers. We're a little bit lower than those SAUs, and should this contract fail, that wage gap will only increase, and that will make it extremely difficult to hire new high-quality teachers and to keep our amazing teachers that we currently have. Our teachers, that wage gap will be about $10,000. There's also the opportunity to gain back a step if a teacher leaves our SAU. As was noted earlier as well, the SAU 21 CBA cooperative agreement is very difficult or it creates a challenge to pass CBAs because should the CBA fail in any one district, it will fail for all the other districts. So that it has failed 3 times since 2010. That creates disparity and a competitive disadvantage. So I just want to emphasize just how important our teachers contract is, and from the boards, I'll speak on behalf of all of our boards at all of our districts and the administration. The CBA is our highest priority, and we hope that that all of our voters get out and vote on March 14th, which is voting day, and that's when the ballots all of our school ballots, both the Seabrook and the Winnicott ballot, will be available for vote, and at which point we'll determine the outcomes of both the operating budget and the collective bargaining agreement. So, be happy to answer any questions in regard to our current year expenditures or budget process going forward.
So, thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Facilities report.
So our facilities manager, Peter Moore, did include a facilities report. It includes the monthly maintenance. He always has a list of items that he's working on. It is a never-ending job, so he's done projects such as changing out water filters, installing a speech room, reinstalling some exit lights, installing a informational TV in the elementary lobby, putting together furniture such as the charging carts, etc. I will also note that our facilities team works incredibly hard. They are asked to do a lot, and they also are a team that really goes above and beyond and does a great job.
Thank you. All right, continuing business. I don't think we have anything under there. Yeah. All right, acceptance of a gift.
So we received a donation from VIP Tires and Service. So VIP has a program where when they open up a new shop in any community, they offer $10 oil changes for the first 6 weeks as part of their grand opening, and they donate 100% of those proceeds to the local school district. So there was a VIP that opened here in Seabrook, and they did donate $3,850 to benefit the school, and they kept it open for the greatest need. So that's always nice when we have that flexibility. So I'd like to thank VIP Tires and Service. That was a very generous donation. And we do need the board to vote to accept that donation.
I make a motion to accept the donation of $3,850 from VIP Tires and Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I got my oil changed, both cars.
All right, so now we have another acceptance of gift from the Water Street Bookstore for $1,000.
So it was actually an anonymous donor who donated $1,000 credit at the Water Street Bookstore, which is again another very generous donation. And I know that we were working to determine what books are needed, and as you can always use some new books. So I know the team is very excited about that. And again, we're asking for the board to accept that donation.
I'll make a motion to accept an anonymous donation of $1,000 to be spent at the Water Street Bookstore to purchase books for the school district.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Matt, is it okay to read the little purpose of donation thing?
Absolutely.
Is it okay to do? It says our Title I project manager recently used Title I funds to purchase $3,000 worth of books at the Water Street Bookstore. These books were given to students and families at our December 8th exhibition night. Following this purchase, the bookstore manager was telling a patron about what our school did for students And then that anonymous patron was so impressed that she donated that $1,000 to then be used.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's nice.
That is really awesome. And it shows that what we're doing for our kids, yeah, makes a difference, and it's being put out to other communities, and that's pretty awesome to see.
Can you say thanks to Jen Thomas for doing that? We actually found that it was more affordable and better to go to a local bookstore than it was to go online.
That's awesome.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Jen went and met with the owner, and they were so accommodating. So thanks to Jen Thomas, our fellow owner, for thinking about something different and doing something with the Water Street bookstore.
Great.
Alright, future meetings. Alright, so we have a public meeting on the budget Monday, January 16th at 2023. We have SAU 21 Joint Board Committee meeting Monday, January 22nd.
23rd.
23rd, yep, sorry, 23rd. SAU 21 Joint Board meeting Tuesday, January 24th. And a Seabrook School Board regular meeting and deliberative session Monday, February 6th.
Kelly, quick note on the
Yes.
February 6th meeting. We're going to start at 6 rather than 4:30.
Okay.
It's going to be prior to the deliberative session.
Okay, thank you. All right, so do we need to go into non-public? No, we don't have anything.
Can I discuss,
Sure.
just, I would ask, beginning if you could, because it was just something that was said during the report that I just wanted to comment if
Yeah.
allowed.
Sure.
So, again, I just, the recognition piece from the middle school. Probably like a year ago, we had kind of all talked about having students come and be recognized and staff. And I'm just piggybacking on what you have shared, and I think it's just absolutely wonderful. It's a way to bring the community in, the kids and the staff, and I think, you know, working on that moving forward would be great. And I hope the board considers, you know, asking them, hey, are there a few kids we should bring forward this month, a few staff members, and recognize them here, because it really means a lot to them. All right, thank you.
All right, so anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
A second. All in favor?
Hold on a second, I'm just writing.
Too bad.
I wanna go too. Hold on.
Too bad.
Jen's got that motion.
She
on.
sits there
That's
and
her
she
job.
talks. That's her job. She thanks the whole meeting how she's gonna say it. I'm gonna say it with a smile. I'm gonna say it with a grin. I'm gonna say it with a cowbell.
Alright, and who motioned?
Jen.
Jen.
Always Jen.
Thank you, Jen. And
You're welcome. With somebody
I think
appreciates
Kelly.
it.
Kelly
I think
seconded.
Kelly, you second.
Yeah.
Yes.
alright, I'll mark it unanimous.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good work.
This is what happens with these